Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Comic Book Time podcast for July 24th, 2013. My name's Aaron, and I'll be your host. So here's how this whole thing works. This is a podcast where I review comic books that come out every single Wednesday. That's when we get all of our new books. So if you want to basically pick a specific book title, click on the screen for that. Any of the titles that you want to see, if you want to check out Batman, Superman, Hunger, just click on the screen and it'll take you to that point in the video, or you can just watch it straight through. So there you go, and enjoy. Okay, so our first comic book of the week is Hawkeye Annual, issue number 1. So we have this first annual of Hawkeye. So how did it do? I thought for the most part it was pretty good. I do have some likes and dislikes about this. So we'll get into that, but first we'll talk about the synopsis of this. So basically, Kate Bishop leaves Clint because he's being all depressed and shit from the last couple of issues, and this is actually kind of like the fallout issue of issue number 11, when she just packed up her stuff and she just left. So essentially, she makes her way to L.A., and in L.A. she tries to find a fresh new start. So she goes to this motel. So she's kind of just kicking back by the pool, and that's when things start going wrong. Her credit card gets declined. Even before that, sorry, my storytelling is a little bit back and forth, but even before that, we saw that Madame Mask actually wants to take revenge on her from back in issue 4 and 5, I believe. Back in that one mission that she had with Clint, which was, both those issues were good. I think it was a storyline called The Tape. But regardless, so we see that Kate Bishop gets her cards declined, but it's all kind of a conspiracy plot with Madame Mask. But Madame Mask kind of disguises herself as a regular person, takes her in to her house because, her credit card's declined, so she's kind of poor at the moment. But she slowly tries to, poisons her wine. And Kate, she actually starts picking up on this. So she has to essentially escape and get out of there and figure out whether or not what Madame Mask plans to do with her. So that's it. The writing was good. Matt Fraction, always good storyteller. One of the things that he does well is that there's kind of like a back and forth between like an animated version of Kate Bishop. So you see a little bubble, and it has like an even more cartoon version of Kate Bishop, and then she tells her it's kind of like a back and forth between her. So I thought that was funny. The only bad in this is the art. Fuck, man. There's so many actual panels that are just silhouettes, and it's a damn shame because we have the artist. God damn it, Jose or Javier. Fuck, man. Every single, I think maybe 9 out of 8 on this one page is just, all silhouettes of characters. And then the rest is just, nicely drawn. The art is solid. But, he doesn't utilize his actual talent in order to give us, well-drawn characters. He does it in most of the panels. But a lot of them are just silhouettes, which is really frustrating for me as a reader, because I always go to Hawkeye for one thing: storytelling and art. And the art wasn't. Fuck, man. Every single silhouette in this, every single character was almost like a silhouette. You couldn't go a page without a fucking silhouette. So that really annoyed me. But regardless, I still really enjoyed Hawkeye for the the story, and I always like to see Kate and Pizza Dog or Lucky or Arrow on their own little adventure. So I'm going to give Hawkeye Annual 1 a 4 out of 5. So definitely pick this up if you are a Hawkeye fan and you're a fan of Kate Bishop, because it's kind of like her own little adventures, and it's fun, and it's kind of a cool down comic. So our next comic book is The Superior Spider-Man, issue number 14. This starts a new story arc, and this was the continuation of issue number 13. So let's see what happens. Cool suit, bro. So as of course, I think one of the main drawing points of this actual issue or what I've been hearing from people is they really like the suit. I've been getting a lot of comments from fans or not fans, friends. God, I'm self-absorbed. Anyways, I'm getting a lot of input from my friends, guys at the comic book shop, saying that they think the new costume is very nice. It reminds them of the Alex Ross design, and I have to admit I like it too. So let me talk about the plot of this. So in summation, if I had to put it up into one sentence, I would say Spider-Man be getting shit done. Yeah, he's mounting a full-scale attack on Shadowland, which is the Kingpin's basically home, his base of operations, and he's coming at Kingpin with everything he's got. And he's built these awesome giant mechs called arachnauts, and they're pretty cool. And he has his own foot soldiers, and they're going around. They're helping the civilians that are around, keep them safe away from the destruction, the kind of Pacific Rim that's happening way over there. Complete destruction. Spider-Man goes in there, and he starts beating the crap out of the Hand, which are some of the foot soldiers that are owned by the Kingpin himself. So the Kingpin flees, and he has a contingency plan, which is really screwed up when you think about it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but he does have a contingency plan, and basically the issue goes on, and then will Spider-Man be able to destroy the Shadowland, the giant mansion that is in the middle of Hell's Kitchen, or will he fail? Will Kingpin get away? And what about the Hobgoblin? What's his plans? And what are the underground goblins doing? I guess you're gonna have to see to find out. Let's talk about the good. Writing is great. It's really interesting to see a really proactive and aggressive Spider-Man, because it really does so much to Dr. Octavius's character, and it definitely speaks volumes. I like the new artist they have here. The art's really good. Some great action set pieces. The art has so much stuff going on. Sometimes you kind of lose yourself into the art. Just because the amount of stuff that's happening that they put into one actual panel. And I'm of course talking about the huge massive set piece panels. They are huge, really well drawn. I definitely enjoyed this issue. I'm going to give the Superior Spider-Man, issue number 14, a 4.5 out of 5. The Superior Spider-Man continues to be a interesting comic title, and it seems like Superior Spider-Man Month, or maybe it's just called Superior Month, is going pretty well. And speaking of Superior Spider-Man Month, we're going to go on to our next comic book, which is the team-up issue. So let's get to that. Our next comic book is Superior Spider-Man Team-Up, issue number 1. So this is from a new team, I believe. This is Christopher Yost and David Lopez doing the art. So this comic book series is actually going to be replacing Avenging Spider-Man. I think it stopped at issue number 22. So this will be replacing Avenging Spider-Man, but it'll still have the same team. So if you are a fan of Avenging Spider-Man, you won't really worry about that. So let's talk about this. A few things you need to know is you should definitely read the first page where it gives you the description of what's going on. So we do in fact know that this is Doc Ock Spider-Man, and that they explain the events of some of the earlier Superior Spider-Man stories. So hopefully if you've been reading Superior Spider-Man from the start, and then you read this, you'll be relatively good. Actually, you'll know a lot of things, but if you haven't, they fill you in, and then you're filled in. So the plot, basically, for a couple of pages, Spider-Man just keeps on is just going around New York, punching bad guys, or punching good guys, heroes actually, and just kicking ass, taking names. But it's out of context, so we don't know why he's doing this. But later on, we figure out why he's doing this, and there's a big reveal, and apparently a certain character has been infected with a virus known as what is it? The carrion virus. So he's basically going around trying to track down this virus, and it's hopping from superhero to superhero, and that's when the Avengers come in. Um, even before that, when Spider-Man's basically causing a huge ruckus, like a disturbance. He catches the eyes of Steve Rogers, and then he assembles the Avengers, and then they meet up with him, I think, halfway through the comic. And essentially, I think once they figure out the individual who is infected, they team up to take him or her down. And I can talk about the writing. I thought it was funny. It was funny seeing all the reactions of the heroes when Spider-Man was basically beating the crap out of their friends. Like, I think there was some scenes between it was like Daredevil was getting beaten by Spider-Man, and a couple of Fisher delivery guys, fish delivery guys, I guess, were just like talking about that. And anytime he would Spider-Man would be beating up someone, usually like they'd be in a team, so one of their teammates would react. That was pretty funny. So overall, this was interesting. The art was pretty solid. Most of the art is pretty consistently good. There's a few panels here and there that aren't as good as most covers, but that's all right. But even with that little gripe, this comic book is still pretty good. I enjoyed it. It was a solid comic book, and definitely a solid start to this new ongoing. Superior Spider-Man Team Up issue number 1 gets a 4 to 5. And I think what made me really want to pick up this next issue, issue number 2 when it comes out, is the ending and the epilogue. It'll be interesting to see where this is going. There definitely is a team that's going to be forming. But is that going to be a team that is going to do well? I guess we're going to have to see. Our next comic book is a new limited series called Hunger. And this is basically an Age of Ultron aftermath. And this is a limited series out of 4, and this is the first issue. So I'll give you the plot synopsis. So there's this character named Rick Jones who's been bestowed with cosmic powers. And, he has all these powers, and he's been around the world, kind of flying through space and the universe and time itself. But all he really wants is a cheeseburger at Burger Shack. So when he finally takes a break, he goes to his favorite burger joint and gets a burger. But he's warned by the Watchers, saying that there's a huge, there's an event that's going to happen very soon that's extremely dangerous, and he needs to go in and basically check it out. So he gets teleported in the middle of an aerospace battle in the middle of a sector that's controlled by the Chitauri. And the Chitauri are at war with the Kree. Yeah, I think basically 2 alien races and ship, trying to blow each other up, because apparently I think the Kroll killed millions of Chitauri on their homeworld. So Rick Jones witnesses this huge battle, and basically he's kind of seeing both ships. So he's going inside the Chitauri ship and seeing their side of the story, and then going to the other ship and then seeing what they're talking about. But then a huge anomaly happens, opening up basically Age of Ultron, like the aftermath of that happened. And if you read Age of Ultron, spoilers if you haven't read Age of Ultron, but at the very end of the series, basically the time-space continuum just kind of broke. So a huge portal essentially breaks open, and guess who comes out? Well, he's on the cover, Galactus. But then something else happens in the last 2 pages, and it made me go, oh, well, shit. So let's talk about the good and the bad. The good. The writing was funny. Rick Jones is actually a pretty funny character. He was a good balance of humor when there's all this dark shit happening during the space battle and war. The art was good. It was definitely solid. Bad. it seems it's the whole Chitauri War was kind of, it's kind of like, do we really need that in this issue? I guess you need to like fill up the pages with some sort of conflict, but this whole space war or space battle that happened in the sector that Rick Jones was in was okay. I mean, there was some interesting art when it came down to it, but only when Rick Jones started to fight did that battle actually become interesting. So overall, I'm going to give Hunger issue number 1 a 4 out of 5. I definitely enjoyed the humor and the art, and the ending is something I want to see next. Our next comic book is Batman Superman issue number 2. So this is the newest series of the New 52 version of the first meeting of Batman and Superman. So let's see how they do. So the plot synopsis, we kind of saw what happened to Superman in last issue, where he ended up when both, I'm going to call New 52 Superman and Batman, like the original timeline that we saw at the beginning of the first issue, and then the Earth 2 versions, of course, are Earth 2 Batman Superman. So we see what happened to Batman. He actually is teleported to Wayne Manor in Earth 2, and apparently in Earth 2, Earth 2 Batman is married to Selina Kyle, Catwoman, and it's always funny to see these characters interact. The two different versions of alternate reality versions of like Bruce Wayne, like there's an example like when they're fighting, they're both using a lot of batarangs, and you can hear both of their inner dialogue. So there's different bubbles. So one scene is Batman going like Dragon Punch, and then the other Batman would be like Dragon Punch. It's like I haven't used that move in years. So different stuff like that. It's pretty funny how they just realize like, oh yeah, this is probably me from an alternate dimension. They kind of just like, learn about it just like that. So it's interesting. Some scenes when like people face off, like when Superman faces off against Earth 2 Superman. There's a great moment between Clark and Ma and Pa Kent of Earth 2, and that's pretty heartwarming. There's also some great kind of like awkward silences with other family members. Like there's a dinner with the two Bruce Waynes of alternate reality, and then Catwoman. There's Selina Kyle there, and then we see outside of the mansion, we see the Earth 2 versions of Gotham and Metropolis, and they're all very different. And the ending is definitely interesting. The page before the ending was pretty funny, and that last panel of what happens with Wonder Woman was pretty, kind of intense. I really have to commend this thing for its art. Art is phenomenal. Great character design. Great city design. Writing is hilarious. The way the writer actually writes the scenes of the two alternate versions of Superman and Batman, meeting up, are really fun and interesting. And it definitely seems like that's what actually would happen. So I'm going to give Batman Superman issue number 2 a 5 out of 5. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 based off the amazing art by Jack Lee. And I think this is probably becoming one of my if it keeps on going this way, and it has this interesting storyline with really fun dialogue, I think this is probably going to be my new favorite New 52 title out right now. So our next comic book is Justice League Dark, issue number 22. This is part 3 of the Trinity War. And this is actually the third cover. Oh god. The 3-piece cover is complete. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes Darth Sidious just takes over my body. But anyways, let's talk about the comic book. So I'm going to talk about the plot. So we actually kind of pick up where we left off, actually in a chronological order from the first kind of events. So we see that some of these subplots, Firestorm creates kryptonite. A new character gets introduced, which is the Phantom Stranger, which was interesting. I love all these characters just introducing themselves like, I'm the Phantom Stranger, and like in the last issue, like, I'm the Question, and I'm here to tell you what's what. I think all those are pretty funny. But anyways, we have Superman, and the Question, they're trying to figure out who actually, is controlling Superman. And we also catch up with our other sublines. There's so many subplots in this, but it works well. So we meet up with the Justice League Dark. This is the Justice League Dark, comic book. So we're gonna have the Justice League Dark in it for the most part, but we still get Justice League of America and Justice League, and some sides will be taken. Wonder Woman wants to go one way, Batman wants to go the other way. Superman and some of the other Justice League of America members want to go another way. So there is gonna be a confrontation. The writing is really good. There's a lot of banter between enemies. More specifically, there's some good discussions, and like whenever a conflict were happening, there was really good dialogue, especially between John Constantine and Zatanna. Kind of like there's kind of bad blood there, and when Wonder Woman and Batman were arguing, that was very interesting. There's some good back and forth between characters, and the plot in this issue is definitely thickening, and I'm really excited to read some of the other tie-ins. So let's talk about the good. Writing's great. Jeff Lemire proves that he's still a really good writer. What else? The art. Holy shit, the art was really, really good. I did not expect this art to be good, but I mean, it was great. Even the color, like who's doing the inker, whoever's actually doing that is fantastic. Actually, some of the best use of color in the actual Justice League comic book so far. And I definitely really enjoyed this issue. Justice League Dark, issue number 22, 5 out of 5. I mean, this plot, they definitely moved the plot forward, and I'm really interested to see where this goes. And the ending, oh my god, so many questions I need to know. Who is it? Our next comic book is Constantine, issue number 5. This is our first Trinity War tie-in. So let's see how it goes. So from the issue that we just reviewed, in that issue, Constantine and Shazam kind of go away from the rest of the group, and they kind of end up at this bar. And once they're in the bar, Constantine basically puts a spell on Billy Batson and switches his voice. So basically, Constantine has the voice of Billy Batson, which basically gives him the powers of Shazam. And apparently there's this character named Mop Mop and this whole group of, villains from this organization who watch over this thing called the Cold Flame. I haven't been reading Constantine, so I really don't know who these characters are. But they send this giant demon after Constantine and Billy Batson. But Constantine, of course, has the Shazam powers. And it's pretty cool when he has Shazam powers, like he's really beating the crap out of the demon. And it's a pretty cool fight scene. But, after that, he defeats the demon. Billy Batson gets his powers back, and then he just leaves. And that's kind of the issue. Wasn't a very interesting tie-in. We really don't know why Constantine did what he did. It kind of left me with more questions than answers. And it didn't really move the plot forward. It was literally just at the bar, and those two things I just talked about. So, the good, we can talk about the good. I like the art. There's a nice art. Definitely interesting battle scenes. I liked the fact that John Constantine had Shazam powers. I thought that was cool. He had his own suit. So that was interesting. The bad, this really didn't do anything to add to the Trinity War. And, it was kind of like meh. I wish they would have explained why he took Billy Batson's powers away. They did kind of address it at the very end. He said, you shouldn't touch the box. You shouldn't touch the, Pandora's, three-eyed skull. But still, he doesn't know why. It still really didn't do anything. Constantine, issue number 5, gets a 3 out of 5. It was okay. It was good action scenes, but I mean, it didn't do anything to move the plot forward or add anything to the Trinity War, which is kind of disappointing. So our next comic book is Talon, issue number 10. So let's see what Calvin Rose is up to. So we get back to what's happening back in Gotham. Sarah is still being hypnotized by the court, which apparently they hypnotize people by teaching them the fucking alphabets. Apparently, O is for owl. Anyways, and Casey Washington's still getting tortured by one of the big bad Talons. So we get back to Calvin, and he's still in Santa Prisca trying to essentially assassinate Sebastian and Bane. But he runs into Iron. I think it's Iron Wolf, or no, it's Spider Wolf, which is an interesting name. I don't think it really fits what he has to do. I guess Spider makes sense because he can run around, but Spider Wolf is kind of a little bit strange. But we finally figure out what Bane really wants to do. His big plan, he wants to take his huge army of Santa Prisca and basically storm the beaches of Gotham and I guess essentially take it over so he can be kind of the kingpin. It reminded me like kind of like Nightfall almost. But of course, it's nice seeing Calvin using his Talon powers, I guess. The fact that he can't even die, and that really helps him. He even comments about it, which was fun. So he gets saved by someone, and they're characters that we haven't seen in a long time, and it's nice to see them again. And I won't spoil the rest of it, but what I liked about this, the dialogue was good. Everything from the writing and the art was solid. Like definitely no problems there. It's just some of the stuff that happens in the actual comic book itself. One of them being, of course, the how they basically brainwash Sarah. I thought that was pretty silly. About the O is for owl bullshit. What else? One of the other problems, and I could just be nitpicking, there are two cops in this that have the veins, like the Court of Owls, and the other cop who's completely normal does not notice this at all. Like these guys are white, pale white, and they have blue veins. I mean, come on. Fucking Gotham PD's finest. Seriously. I mean, how does no one notice that? But, obviously, I'm nitpicking, but, still, I thought Talon issue number 10 was still really solid. I still do enjoy the series. Definitely has some interesting things. I mean, if you like the Court of Owls, you should definitely pick this up. But it's only 10 issues in. And I think the volume 1's coming out in August. But Talon issue number 10, it's going to get a 3.5 out of 5. Our next comic book is Lazarus, issue number 2 by Image Comics. To my knowledge, the first issue did pretty well, and I really enjoyed it. So let's talk about what they're doing in this issue, the plot synopsis, what I liked, and possibly what I disliked. We'll see. So this continues from the last issue, and the last issue was kind of it was kind of like an isolated incident, but in this issue, it feels like it's more. We see how the world is and how it's more fleshed out. So we see the one family, the one biggest family in the entire world that basically controls the masses, which is the Carlisle family, and we meet up with our main character, I guess, is Forever Carlisle. She's the Lazarus. She's kind of like a I'll call her like a super soldier for the Carlisle family. And we see that they start discussing the attack on their harvesting base, and there's some interesting conflict dialogue between the family. Like you can definitely tell there's some history and conflict between each member of the family. It's kind of a dysfunctional family, so there's some interesting character development that happens in here. And once they discuss that they need to go after the other family, which I think is called the the Murray. That family they're going after. So Forever is sent with, I think, Jonah. They go out to, I think, Los Angeles to go and find out what's happening. So let's talk about what this comic book did really well. We need to talk about the premise. The premise is really interesting. It seems like they have this mix between the setting of the world being in a post-apocalyptic universe, and the fact that there's almost like this kind of essence of the kind of rich still intact is kind of interesting. It's interesting in the fact that even with all this kind of destruction everywhere, there still seems to be kind of like almost like a crime syndicate happening amongst, this post-apocalyptic world, which is very interesting. You think with all that, death and destruction, people would kind of be, like, oh man, fuck, like the world, it's destroyed. Like, I'm fucking depressed about this. But no, they just truck on through, and there's this huge kind of like gang war that's happening. If I had to like compare this to anything, maybe shows like I'm thinking of crime shows that involve like families. For lack of a better show, I'll go or better example, I'll say probably The Sopranos. I'm probably pissing off The Sopranos fans, or maybe even like if you want to talk about rival gangs, maybe like Sons of Anarchy, but set in like a post-apocalyptic world like this is very interesting take. And there's kind of a nice contrast between both the rich and the poor. Like when they're driving on the highway, like the whole highway is just kind of collapsed, and they're inside their car drinking fucking wine and like champagne. So it's interesting to see that. The art actually fits very well with the comic. The art's very kind of like dirty and grimy, but in a good way. It's kind of like it's very gritty and dark, and it works perfectly for a comic book like this. And I wouldn't actually say anything bad, but I wish there's kind of a before fight scene that happens at the very end. Like, the next issue is going to be like a action-packed episode, but I wish there was some action in this. But regardless, was still a really good comic this week. Probably one of the best out of the week. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Lazarus, definitely pick this up. It's interesting plot. Characters are definitely really good characters. Storytelling, they're definitely fleshing out the setting, and the setting's very interesting. And I'm definitely enjoying this. Whoa, and that's it for the Comic Book Time podcast. Thank you for watching. Make sure to click the annotations on the screen to subscribe to the channel. Also check out the previous Comic Book Time podcast, where our featured thumbnail was, I believe, issue number 14 of All New X-Men. So definitely click that if you want to see the previous podcast. Hit the annotation on the screen in the little bubble right there. Or sorry, the little square. What am I talking about? Bubble. And if you want to see the next podcast, which would be, I think, the next week, of course. So next Wednesday's Comic Book Time podcast is always on Wednesdays, so make sure to come back and check that out. And hope you like and subscribe. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below of some comic books you would like me to review for you. And I'll go down to all the comments, and if there's a specific book, I'll choose it, and I'll make a review just for you. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.